Sreedevi, we want to welcome you and open the gallery view and see everyone who's here because people are
Okay.
coming in from all over the world,
Hmm.
and you all can pour your blessings in, your names and where you're coming in from. We have friends from the Rasa Yoga Collective, the teacher trainers, many of the teachers and students from around the world. We have friends from the Rasa Yoga 300-hour teacher training happening right now
Hmm.
down in Venice Beach and globally online too. And we also have a lot of our priestess sisters here in the Ritual Mystery School, and they're here really to learn the Gayatri Mantra for the gateway of the solstice and the earth magic and the wheel of the year, and to really have these deep teachings with you. And we have friends coming in that are through Naropa and through you and through the extended family and community of the great bhakti hearts of all these teachers and friends that you have taught, and that just, you're really like bring the power of the shine all the way through. You're the Shakti shine, and so excited to be in this journey with you. And thank you for also just all the generosity of your spirit and your teachings for these last 3.5 years. It's really carried us as a collective. Like the power of your teachings, the power of your heart has really carried us and uplifted us and helped us to go so much deeper. So we are grateful, and all praise to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, Sienna, my heart is full as I acknowledge your greeting and ah, it is indeed the goddess Shakti that shines through us, flows through us, and connects us. And since I was a child, I had longed for this connection to everything there is. And my mother used to say even when I was 5 or 6 years old, I would touch a flower or try to have a butterfly land on my hands and say, I want to be that. I want to be that. I want to be that. And then when they took us to the ocean for the first time, how I ran into the water and put my hands out and said, I want to be that. So there was this something, the yearning within us. That is the Shakti of longing, the Icha Shakti. Icha in Sanskrit, ICCHHA. Icha Shakti is nothing but pure longing. A longing for us to fully experience from where we are that sacred connection to ultimate reality, to that consciousness that undergirds and drives and manifests everything from a grain of sand to my hair, to the butterfly, to the flower, and to you and me, and all of the whole line of life that we have come through over hundreds of millions of years to be here today in this form, to be able to speak and sing and write. And this is what defines us as humans aspiring to be on this path. And Goddess Gayatri and her cosmic sound body being the Gayatri Mantra, in complete gratitude to the solar deity, Surya. Surya Namaskara. Namaskara is the same as Namaste, except in Namaste, I am honoring you. Namaha Te means salutations to you. Namaha Te, two words become one when we say Namaste. But Namaskara is one word, and it is the attitude of honoring with the salutation. It is the form of the salutation that is inward. So it is Surya Namaskara and Namaskara. Of course, we say Namaskara as an everyday greeting in India too, same as Namaste, both are interchangeable. And in Hindi, they'll say Namaskar. But so when we say Surya Namaskar, the salutations and the honoring of the solar deity, it is not merely the outer physical form of this giant nuclear reactor that we call the sun, that we know is going to blast away for another 6 billion years before the solar system will shut down into some other form. But it is that radiant, effulgent consciousness that impregnates the physical body of the sun. So in Vedic texts from the Rig Veda and the earliest outpourings of hymns by the sages, all of the planetary celestial bodies and all of the 5 elements were all glorified as deities. And this trend came also from Mesopotamia, from the old Persian Empire, and the old religion of Zoroastrianism. And so in waves, as the Indo-Europeans did their settling and migrations, these same deities were honored in all of these traditions, and the Egyptian as well. So in the Mesopotamian tradition, the sun lord was called Mitra, and Mitra is one of the Sanskrit names for the sun. Agni, when we say Agni, the fire principle, but Agni is another name for the sun god. And then ignite in Latin comes from that. So the connections go on for us to honor and be in gratitude to this solar consciousness that is deeply embedded within the physical body of the sun. So the source of our life, the source of all life on earth, all life on everywhere on this solar system, and the source of every breath. So with every breath, with pranayama, we can take the Gayatri Mantra, and we can, in fact, we should begin that way, do 3 Gayatri Mantras with Nadi Shodhana. So since it's high noon or beyond, in most places right now, we'll use the left nostril for the evening and the lunar side of our being. So inhaling, I'll just walk you through it first, inhaling from the left. And this is, of course, your alligator clip of the Vishnu Mudra on the soft cartilage on either side of the nose. So inhaling from the right nostril, hold, exhaling from the left, hold, inhaling from the left, hold, exhaling from the right, hold. So let's do through 3 of these, and then you begin to add the Gayatri Mantra, but we shall restrict ourselves to simply the opening invocation. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. Say that after me. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. I want 1 or 2 people, at least Sianna, Masood, maybe Atta, to unmute so I can get a response as well. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha.
Om Bhur Swaha.
Good. So just that opening invocation, which is an invocation as we focus on our attention on the Lord of the Sun in his form as Savitra. Say Savitra, Savitra. Savitra. That's what becomes in the Gayatri Mantra, Savitur Varenyam. Savitur means of Savitra. So Savitra is his name as the power of manifestation. Surya is his name for being the source of all life. Savitra is the power of manifestation. And the feminine of that, the sun rays, and how we would imagine the radiance filling our beings when we are conscious of all that, then that's the feminine form, Savitri. So Savitri, the goddess Savitri, almost the same as goddess Gayatri. We'll go into that a little bit. The connection of three goddesses, Saraswati, Savitri, and Gayatri. So this mantra we're chanting can be called the Savitri mantra as well. It's often called that, especially in North India, but both names are equivalent. The Gayatri mantra, the Savitri mantra. And as we focus on bringing down the radiance of the Lord of the Sun in his form as Savitri, the manifesting power, then we open the Gayatri mantra with immediately invoking the three realms of consciousness. Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha. So when we say Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha, again, repeat. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. So that becomes one word that combines three words. Bhu. That sound represents Bhuloka, or the physical, gross universe. And Bhuvaha, that sound represents Bhuvarloka, or the intermediate manifesting universe, what we might call the subtle plane. So the gross or physical plane, the subtle plane, and then the third one, Swaha or Suvaha, both are correct, Suvaha or Swaha. That represents the celestial, yet to manifest plane of consciousness called Svarloka, the celestial realm, heavenly realm. So Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Swaha. And together they become Bhur, Bhuva, Swaha. So in that invocation to those three realms of consciousness and to the deities and inhabitants of those three subtle realms, the physical universe that has manifested, the intermediate subtle universe that is still manifesting, and the celestial universe, or the causal plane that is yet to manifest. All three are called upon with that invocation. But that itself is not the Gayatri Mantra. That is an invocation that can be used anytime. But when chanting the Gayatri Mantra, it is always used. So that we open to the lokas, those three realms first, and the sun's radiance lighting up those three realms of the universe. Then we go into the adoration, the gratitude, the honoring, and the yearning, that longing, that Shakti of longing, the Ichha Shakti that permeates the Gayatri Mantra. Saying, we meditate, Dhimahi. It doesn't say, I am going to meditate, or we are going to meditate. It starts, right? It starts, I mean, it doesn't start with the word, but the word Dhimahi can be simultaneously a command, let us contemplate, let us meditate, or the present moment awareness, we meditate. There is a collective energy that is already instilled. The whole mantra is impregnated with this collective consciousness that is yearning to know itself, the one reality that wants to know itself because in all manifestation, it has forgotten itself. So the yearning of the Gayatri Mantra that gradually rises up our Kundalini spinal current to open us up and to open the hood of the hoods of the Kundalini, maybe 5 or 7. In the Gayatri Mantra, we often visualize 7 hoods because there are 7 lokas or 7 realms. And invoking those 7 realms is called the long Gayatri. And invoking 3 realms is called the short Gayatri, which has been popularized in the West. And the Gayatri Mantra itself is that yearning and the calling out. Oh, you manifesting power, Savitra. Your divine radiance is what we are contemplating. Your effulgent, your adorable radiance, Varenyam, Bhargaha. Bhargo is grammatically is Bhargaha. Bhargaha is, think of like just like a broiling, the broiling inner core of the sun, but as it comes outwards, you have the shining radiance, and each thrust of that sun, the cosmic rays as they move out from the sun are just broiling and at the same time radiating with divine effulgence that is to be adored. All of that is contained in that word, Varenyam, Bhargaha, that boiling radiance. Dhimahi, we meditate, or let us meditate. Tat savituhu varenyam tat. That ultimate reality. Tat in Sanskrit is the same as that in English. When we say that one, that oneness, that which is beyond all description, unfathomable, unknown. That is what we are calling on. That. And then linking that ultimate reality to Savituhu. Varenyam, Varga. Savituhu, Savitur is like a possessive noun. What does Savitra possess? Savituhu possesses that radiance, Bharga, that we are meditating on. Devasya, Dhimahi, Devasya means of the deity or divine, the divine radiance. Then we go to the ending of it. Vargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Dhiyaha, Yaha, Naha, Prachodayat. Dhiyaha is our purified awareness, our intuitional minds. Think of the word samadhi. Think of the word dhyana for meditation. Think of the word dharana for concentration. What Patanjali gives us among the 8 limbs, the subtle limbs. Dharana, dhyana, samadhi. What is common to all that is the sound dha, dha, dha. And here you have dhiya. So that dhi sound embodies within it intelligent consciousness rising up from the earth. We are the ones that innate intelligence, consciousness of all creation, preservation, dissolution of the universe is rising up through the Kundalini. And to that purified awareness, O Lord of the Sun, in your form as the manifesting powers, Savitra, propel us, inspire us, illumine us. And that is a command in this mantra, prachodayat. Pra, that prefix pra, is just like the prefix in the Latin prefix when we say profusion, that which is being impelled, that which is being propelled, that which, if you use the metaphor of light, then that which is illuminating. But the metaphor of light is not used directly in the Gayatri Mantra. It is a hidden metaphor. It's all about Shakti. And though it doesn't use the word Shakti, it's all about that energized consciousness to be activated by this mantra. So that word, prachodayat, that command, prachodayat, that longing that comes in begging for that illumination, may I be one with you, because I know that I am you. Soham asmi. I know that I am that. Asmi, I am. Soham, I am that. Soham asmi. Those are words that come in the Upanishads in a commentary on the Gayatri Mantra. That the sage is declaring, the sage called Vishwamitra, friend of the universe, Mitra. As friend, Mitra is also the Lord of the Sun, but in this sense it's used as, and Vishwa is the universe, so Vishwamitra, the friend of the universe. So that sage who wrote many great Sanskrit texts and hymns, and was an advisor, a spiritual advisor to several kings, he received a vision in which Goddess Gayatri blesses him. And she dictates the Gayatri Mantra and tells him to teach it to all who can receive. And that this is the way humanity will learn to link consciously with the most powerful presence in our lives, the presence of the Lord of the Sun. And there is the complete identification of the physical sun with the spiritual sun. The physical sun as the spiritual Lord of the solar system, as the giver, the source of all self-realization and self-illumination. So it's in this context that the Gayatri Mantra, so preciously received by sage Vishwamitra, was given in writing and then added to the Rig Veda, our earliest written Sanskrit liturgical text. Rig means inner seer. So the rishi, all rishis are sages, where the term means the inner seers, those who could see from within, those whose third eye was opening. So Vishwamitra received the Gayatri Mantra so that it could be spread to all who can receive. And in the early days of the Vedic period, say somewhere between 1500 to about 700, 800 BC, there were women sages as well, called Rishika, and they also wrote many hymns in the Vedas. And they were also teachers and had both female and male students. And both girls and boys used to be initiated into the recitation of the Gayatri Mantra and the ceremony that is done by the initiated ones 3 times a day, called the Sandhya Vandana. Vandana is gratitude. Sandhya is like twilight and pre-dawn. Those times of the day when it's not complete darkness and we're just coming into the dawn. So that is one Sandhya. And then the other Sandhya. Sandhya is also a bridging element. So the other Sandhya is at twilight. So sunrise, sunset, and then noon, when the sun is right in the highest point for us. So this is the triad of the movement of the sun where the Gayatri Mantra is chanted. And I'm going to teach you one or two practices that are done as part of that Sandhya Vandana, the honoring of that in between consciousness where transformation can happen. What Patanjali calls the present moment awareness, idam kshanam, is very possible on a physical level. We can attune ourselves just at sunrise, just at sunset, and also at noon. So, but as in the course of Indian history, as the times became a little more stricter and more patriarchal, then girls and women were not taught the Gayatri Mantra or schooled in Sanskrit or the Vedic traditions anymore. And so that is all being reclaimed since the 20th century. So in our family then, my mother and my aunts were the first ones to learn not only yoga, but also the Gayatri Mantra, and the men continued to do the tradition of the 3 times honoring the sun using the Gayatri Mantra and some sacred water. So this is something of the history and the background that's important for the West to know, because we don't realize how much has gone into making the Gayatri available to all, that there have been forces within India for about 200 years, first of all, opening the Gayatri Mantra reception and initiation to women and to girls, then to the lower classes, because it was restricted to the 3 upper classes, particularly Brahmins, number one, because, we grow up learning Sanskrit and we grow up chanting from the Vedas, and therefore the Gayatri Mantra is automatically the first mantra you learn from the Vedas. And so I was in that tradition that was allowed, and I didn't even know that it had been blocked, because I was a child post-independence. 1947 was independence of India, and the British were really pushing equality of women for education. And before that had been over 600 years of strict Islamic rule. So India coming out of the strict Islamic rule into more of the modernization under the British, and then opening into our own Hindu universe. How do we in the modern contemporary world stay as Hindus, and what are we going to reclaim from so much of our heritage, that part of it which had been suppressed for several hundreds of years? So in that coming out of it, women, minorities, children, all castes, and people of other faiths, other nationalities are all included. And that is how the West takes it for granted that we can sit and chant the Gayatri Mantra. So there is such a beauty in knowing that there has been a deep struggle to bring this egalitarian opportunity to receive this Shakti of the Gayatri Mantra. Let's pause for a moment and just offer that gratitude. Visualize the sun above your head and the rays of the sun coming downward to touch each of the 7 chakras. Feel the cerebrospinal fluid flowing up and down the spinal cord. There's a golden, shining, sparkling fluid, the texture of honey, moving up to the center of the brain and spilling inside the brain. That wonderful, life-giving cerebrospinal fluid. Now linking the Gayatri Shakti, the manifesting power of the sun through illumination, through radiance, through consciousness. And then the flow of the Kundalini downwards. Visualize that cerebrospinal fluid flowing downwards and along the spine, spreading like rivers to fill the whole spine and moving into the limbs, moving into the face, moving into the hands and feet. That up and down flow from the center of the brain to the tip of the spine, the coccygeal plexus, moving up. And the rays of the sun above, being drenched with that glorious brilliance, that electrifying brilliance. Feel the warmth, feel the direct focus, that sharpness, that focus of the source. And then that spreading of the Surya Shakti, she who is Savitri, Surya Shakti, spreading within us. And bringing your palms together at the heart chakra. Now, inviting the sun to step down gently, 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 bringing that golden, luminous orb of light into the heart chakra. This is where Lord Vishnu, the deity of preservation, is identified with the sun, the Lord of the Sun, as the Surya Narayana, the cosmic being who has been blessed by Surya himself, Surya Narayana, luminous source, and the rays of golden light spreading from the heart chakra around us, radiating, moving out in waves as the Shakti of Goddess Savitri herself, Surya's manifesting power. Breathing, inhaling in, bringing the sun down, establishing in the heart chakra. As you breathe out, the rays of the sun, golden, luminous, warm, radiating in all directions, spreading our sense of presence, gratitude, receptivity, joy, the innate joy of who we are as conscious spiritual beings. In Vedanta, we call it Satchidananda, Sat, Chit, and Ananda, Sat, in existence, Chit, the consciousness, Ananda, the bliss. The innate bliss of consciousness is radiating from our heart centers, where we have established the Surya chakra, the wheel of fire that is the sun himself, luminous and radiant and soft. And as we hold our hands, let us repeat the Gayatri Mantra after me. Just an oral transmission here. Later, I'll show you the words on the slides and so on. Om Bhur Swaha.
Om Bhur Swaha.
Tatsaviturvarenyam.
Tatsaviturvarenyam.
Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi.
Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi.
Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat.
Dio yo nah prachodayat.
On that high note, prachodaya at, that high note is that energy of activation, that propelling, yearning. Feel that reaching up to the sun itself. I want to be one with you. I want to be one with that. Soham asmi, soham asmi. I am the one that I am. That. As you feel the power of this visualization, mentally do a Gayatri Mantra. Now on the next one, the third round of the Gayatri Mantra, disperse it with the radiance in all directions as you are chanting it. Now a gentle attention back to the golden luminous orb of the sun. Move it up. So this golden pillar of light that passes through the spinal current, moving it up through the forehead, to the crown chakra, and back up to the sun above us, wherever you can visualize the sun. And a soft golden orb continues to stay in our heart chakra. So at this point, I also want to teach you the Surya Mandala. It is among the yantras, it is one of the simplest. So here I have it on an index card, and you can copy it down. So there's a central bindu, that's important. There's a central golden pulsating dot. So when you think about coloring it, it's the colors I'm wearing, red and gold. So there's a central pulsating golden dot. And there are 3 red circles. That represents the physical power of the sun blending into the spiritual light of the sun. So 3 red circles. And the triad of 3 stand for the 3 lokas when we say Om Bhur Bhuva Suvaha. And then you have the 4 cardinal directions, and then the 4 more. So you have the 8 lines for the spreading of the energy of the sun. It is also, when we draw this on the ground, which we often do, we'll either use a like rice flour and water, almost like a pancake batter, and use our index finger to just dip it in. But I've realized you can do it pretty well with a squeegee bottle. And they never had squeegee bottles in India during this time of the Surya Mandala. So what they did was they used a coconut shell, and the coconut has 3 eyes in it, so very auspicious for the triad of the Gayatri. And then they poked a hole in one of them. And so that's, you use a finger to hold the hole, and the batter is poured inside, and then you control the batter with that one hole, and you do all the mandalas every day. We use different mandalas, yantras, patterns that are all to welcome Goddess Lakshmi into the house. So this is specifically the Surya Mandala. And this version has been taught by Sri Ravi Shankar, the famous spiritual teacher from India. And people who study this in his ashram then learn Kriya Yoga that is linked to the Surya Yantra and the Gayatri. So he sees it as an important activation. And so in this, with the rays are flowing out in all directions, those will be in the golden lights. So you have gold and red, the 3 red circles, and the golden bindu, the source. That's the same bindu that's in the Om on the top. So it is what represents ultimate consciousness, that which overcomes our attachment to the 3 separate states of sleeping, waking, and dreaming, or the 3 gunas, the 3 tendencies of our personality to be tamas, rajas, or sattva. Tamas being it's in dormancy. Our abilities are in dormancy. They're potent but dormant. And then rajas, they're being activated. And sattva, they are starting to be subtle, luminous, going into the essence of that quality, of that energy. So those 3 aspects of manifest reality, the 3 gunas, are also then referred to when the Gayatri Mantra is analyzed for what all does Bhur Bhuva Swaha stand for, what all does Om stand for. And so the Surya Mandala reflects that. So for right now, as a practice, we'll draw this in the space in front of us, and make sure you also have this on a paper so you can use it later, because I'm going to give you some instructions on how to use it. So draw this in front of you in the space. First of all, the bindu, the golden bindu, and around it, the 3 red circles. They're all warm and almost like a fiery red, a luminous red. And then draw the 8 directions in golden light. And for those of you that it's already early evening, you visualize yourself facing the west. And those of us still in the late afternoon time zone, we visualize ourselves facing north. So noontime, north, evening time, of course, the west, and morning time facing the east. So align this Surya Mandala so you have the arms of the east-west axis and the north-south. And you are directly with your inner eyes gazing at the bindu and feeling the spread of that warm red, the 3 circles moving out and continuously starting again. The circles begin and they move out like waves, but circular, continuously moving. And the 8 directional yellow shall we call them lines, they are steady and still. So it's like the Shiva and the Shakti. And the sacred masculine here provides the structure, the sun, and the sacred feminine, the Savitri, she moves out and spreads to all life. So gazing at this, and again putting our hands in the Anjali Mudra. So we choose 3 positions here: heart chakra, throat chakra and the Ajna chakra. Heart, throat, Ajna. So the heart to represent our the Atman, the Atma Shakti, completely pervading us. And this is the heartfelt connection. The throat chakra to honor the power of enunciation, the power of vak, the power of speech and mantra. And the Ajna chakra, or the third eye, to honor knowledge and wisdom. And in the third eye, we also honor the sages who have transmitted the Gayatri Mantra. So heart, recite the Gayatri Mantra while gazing at this inner Surya Mandala. Om Bhur Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Now to the throat chakra. Gazing at the mandala, the bindu, the 3 warm red circles, the 8 lines of gold, all radiating. Now begin. Om Bhur Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Connecting to the mandala. Expanding our gratitude to the power of voice, to the goddess of speech, Vagdevi. She is part of Gayatri. Gayatri, she who sings. Gayatri, she who provides the rhythm of chanting. The rhythm of the chanting of the Gayatri Mantra is 3 lines of 8 phonemes. So to a beat of 8, this is chanted. Honoring her as the pulse, the meter, the rhythm of the waves of consciousness. Now to the third eye, honoring this, the rishis, the inner seers, the continuity of transmission. Gazing at the Surya Mandala in front of your closed eyes. Now bring the bindu, that inner golden dot of the Surya Mandala, in line with the third eye, and feel a power of transmission happening there, a continuous golden transmission from that bindu to the third eye. Gratitude is the attitude here. Begin, take a deep breath. Om Bhur Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Bringing the hands down to the heart chakra. Absorbing the Surya Mandala into the heart chakra, into a soft golden orb of light. Offering gratitude for this collective Shakti that is available to us, to be shared in this way through cyberspace. Offering our gratitude to Sianna and Masood for bringing us all together. May this gathering be blessed by the Gayatri Shakti. Blink your eyes a few times. Back here, I want to read to you what Sri Aurobindo, our greatest mystical genius author, poet, philosopher, spiritual master of this last century, who for 40 years did not leave his room and balcony in the Aurobindo ashram in Pondicherry, and also sprouted this beautiful autonomous spiritual township there called Auroville, which a lot of you may have heard about. So Aurobindo is really Aravinda. Aravinda means lotus. And so the tantric symbol of the heart chakra, Shiva rising, Shakti descending into all forms. In the middle is the Kundalini Shakti rising, and the lotus representing our ultimate self-realization. And this is currently the longest English poem in the world. The whole thing is a poem, Savitri. And I want to read you his, first of all, Sri Aurobindo's commentary on the Gayatri, very short one, of course. He says, we choose the supreme light of the divine sun. So in the Gayatri Mantra, it is a choice we are making. And the choice is coming from the longing to experience that ultimate reality. We aspire that it may impel our minds. Remember, his language is all from the 1930s, 40s, 20s to the 40s, when he wrote prolifically. We choose the supreme light of the divine sun. We aspire that it may impel our minds. And then he elaborates, the sun is the symbol of divine light that is coming down. That's the major thing to remember here. The sun is the symbol of divine light. And the Gayatri Mantra gives expression to our aspiration, our longing, our aspiration. So that is expressed in a coded, symbolic, mantric, Shakti form called the Gayatri. 8 lines of 3 phonemes or 24 phonemes. I'm not talking about the invocation to the 3 Rams. That's the Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha, but the rest of it. And then he says, and the Gayatri Mantra is asking that divine light come down and give impulsion to all the activities of the mind. Propulsion, impulsion, activation. To what? To everything that we do and think and yearn and aspire and feel. Because it's only in the activation of all that our mind is capable of do we even conceive of a pathway to the divine. Do we even come together as collective groups and centers and religions and traditions and communities? Just look how large our yoga community is worldwide now, all coming together in this yearning to illumine our minds. So that is from Sri Aurobindo. The Surya Mandala. Now, since we did the mandala thing, I want to lead us in a short chant. I'm adapting it from Ravi Shankar and George Harrison's album of Chants of India from about 35 years ago. It is Ravi Shankar's composition, but I've shortened and adapted it for our purposes. Mandala. Mandala is a cosmic representation, a visual representation of the universe through a circular pattern is a mandala. When we have the square pattern, as in the Gayatri chakra, then we call it more chakra, but mandala and chakra are both symbolic representations of the universe. And Surya is the sun, Agni is fire. You'll have to do this as an oral transmission, and then I can send the words out when we send you a couple of handouts in the recording. So Vayu is the wind, the air. Bhavatu means may it be so. This is so. Surya Mandala, Bhavatu. Agni Mandala, Bhavatu. Vayu Mandala, Bhavatu. And then I've added Gayatri Mandala, Bhavatu. Savitri Mandala, Bhavatu. Saraswati Mandala, Bhavatu. These are the triune goddesses linked to the Gayatri Shakti. Saraswati as the crown chakra goddess, consort of Brahma. Saraswati who brings the wisdom of the self. Saraswati who brings the musical expression of the yearning and longing of the self. She plays the veena. The veena is an ancient instrument that predates the sitar. So these triune goddesses are mentioned in this. So just try to follow along. Surya Mandala, Surya Mandala, Agni Mandala, Agni Mandala, Vayu Mandala, Vayu Mandala, Surya Mandala, Surya Mandala, Agni Mandala, Agni Mandala, Vayu Mandala, Vayu Mandala, Bhavatu, 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 Gayatri Mandala, Savitri Mandala, Saraswati Mandala, Gayatri Mandala, Savitri Mandala, Saraswati Mandala, Bhavatu, 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 Surya Mandala, Agni Mandala, Vayu Mandala, Bhavatu, 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 Gayatri Mandala, Savitri Mandala, Saraswati Mandala, Bhavatu, 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 Bhavatu. So a little song to go with the visualization of the Surya Mandala, within which are embodied all forces of creation, preservation, dissolution in the universe. All the five elements, all the subtle worlds, the causal worlds, the physical worlds, and the triune goddesses, Gayatri, Savitri, Saraswati. Most of you would know something about Saraswati, and some of you may know something about Gayatri, but maybe very few know something about Savitri. She's very slippery, this goddess Savitri. Doesn't quite want to be defined. She brings the sun's radiance, yet she drives on a chariot with 7 gorgeous white horses and holds golden reins, just like the chariot of the sun. The whole chariot metaphor then representing the chariot itself is our own body, our persona. Even the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna is the charioteer for his cousin Arjuna, and so the two of them move forward into the battlefield, then Krishna is the witness and Arjuna is the participant. Krishna holds no weapons. He's the advisor. He's the guru, the witness. And Arjuna is completely engaged, involved in the despair, and then finally in the fighting itself. So that is like the two parts of ourselves, the one that participates and the one that observes. And as we continue to cultivate that witness consciousness through spiritual practices, whether it's asana, pranayama, mantra, yantra, the power of all such practices is to cultivate our witness consciousness so we become more and more the witness. We continue to participate, but with no attachment to the outcome of our actions. That is the main teaching of the Bhagavad Gita, Karma Yoga, to be fully engaged in life, but with no attachment to the outcome of our actions. And so the Gayatri Mantra is a powerful pathway for us to cultivate this witness consciousness. May it be so. May we link to that mandala of fire. May we link to the mandala of the sun. May we link to the mandala of air. May we link to the mandala of water. May we link to the mandala of earth, Bhumi Mandala. And may we link to the power of the triune goddesses of the Gayatri Mantra. Gayatri herself in the morning times, facing the sun. Savitri at high noon, facing the blazing manifesting power of the Lord of the Sun at its might. And Saraswati in the evening, as we come into our inward forces to reflect and to learn and to sing and to chant and to come into the wisdom of our own self. So Savitri, Gayatri, Saraswati. Yeah. So now let's pause for a moment before I start the slideshow and see if there's, I should look at the chat board. Maybe there'll be some things there. If there's something you're burning for me to address, then you can put it on the chat board. So I weave it in the time we have. And I'm already cautioning you, we might go a little longer.
Sreedevi, we have a question real quick.
Yes.
So thank you so much for this beautiful, deep explanation and sharing. So in the morning, Gayatri, in the afternoon, midday, Savitri, and in the evening, Saraswati.
And then the directions to face.
But in the Gayatri, the closest deity we have is Savitri.
Savitri actually. Say Savitri. It's Savitri.
Savitri.
That is the name of the solar deity in the form of the Gayatri. So it is not, so that name is not Savitri. That name is Savitri or Savita, and becomes Savitur or Savituhu actually, Savituhu, in order to say belonging to the sun, belonging to Savitra. So the mantra itself does not refer to goddess Savitri, but the hymn is often called the Savitri mantra also. They are equivalent, Gayatri and Savitri. And when we go into a little bit of the mythology, you'll see how major of a role, Savitri has had in, that she inspired Sri Aurobindo to write this entire poem about a human couple, Savitri and Satyavan, who were historically part of the Mahabharata epic. And that's what has made the name Savitri very famous, is because of that story. So anyway, you got your answer for, so Savitra is,
Clarifying that,
yeah,
yes.
okay.
And
Any,
Sreedevi,
yes,
Georgie says,
yeah.
this is grounding me and helping me understand a longing I have had since I was very young.
Mhm.
Gratitude for the depth of your sharing.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Karin, our beautiful Karin, who
Yes,
she's
yes.
asking, can you share with us a resource for the long form with the seven realms?
Yeah, I'll be sending you the handout, and also I highly recommend, let's say, well, in terms of books and so on, little archaic language, but the best resource on the Gayatri, that comes out of the Theosophical Society. And Dr. Taimni was a wonderful Sanskrit scholar, and my father and he would chat for hours about the Gayatri Mantra. So this was, it doesn't even say when it was originally published. Anyway, the last reprint was 2003. So it has some of the Sanskrit vocabulary in it too, but it's well explained for somebody who already has a deep interest in the metaphysical realms. And so this would be kind of the source book to go for a metaphysical explanation of the Gayatri Mantra. And again, I can make a list of the books.
Great.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you. Here's the next question.
Yeah.
Does this mantra, Gayatri Mantra, this is from Eve, have to do with light bringers, such as Venus in morning and evening and the intensity of sun?
Well, the Gayatri Mantra is linked to all the planets, and there are adjunct mantras for each one of them as well. So it's the 24 phonemes of the Gayatri are actually like 24 bij mantras. So it's a coded mantra that then spreads. There will be links to all the planetary deities, and then there will be links to the 24 categories of existence in Sankhya cosmology, which underlies all yoga. So, things like the 5 elements and 3 levels of mind. So all of that comes to 24 with Purusha and Prakriti. So that way that linking will happen, and those are all systematically taught. Some of it I found on Hindupedia under the Gayatri. So it's a group of Indian teachers who have collectively written some things, because it's very hard for the modern seeker to find a deeper information, but there is so much already. And I will send you my handout, teaching notes on the Gayatri that I originally made for Sianna for her mythic flow yoga. And if any of you are interested in that, then when you work with her on her monthly online series, then they are themed to different deities. So, but the Wikipedia itself is a wonderful resource and gives a lot of the connections of what the 24 phonemes are for. But I would not advise seekers to right away get caught up in the secondary transmissions of the Gayatri. There is so much work to be done in the primary transmission of the Gayatri. And these 2 visualizations and practices I taught you are themselves things to be practiced for years. And then I'm going to add one more now.
Okay, and Sreedevi,
Yeah.
the last question, and then we'll move forward with what you're adding in the slides. This is from Beate. When do we sing Surya Mandala, Vayu Mandala, Bhavatu Bhavatu? And what is it called?
Oh, it's in the whole song is in the CD called Chants of India, and you can easily find it online. It's by Ravi Shankar and George Harrison. Was what? Maybe, was it from the 70s, Masood? I think late 70s, early 80s, somewhere there. But anyway, Chants of India, it's easy to find. And within that, his composition, I don't know what it may be the very last one, the very last song. But I'll send you these words, what I shortened and added the names of the three triune goddesses. I'll send you the words of that. And
but is there a particular time to sing that song?
oh, no particular time. This is all very modern interpretation of the Gayatri. So it's the ancient practice is, to have to do it 3 times, and then the modern practice is do it anytime. Because doing it anytime is a way to get the mind to powerfully focus. So anything else? This is light bringers. Okay. What is it called? Yeah, I would look for a title of his song that will have the word mandala in it. Now, the last practice I want to teach you here is the Gayatri Mantra in those forms as ceremony done 3 times a day is done with water. So you must have, very good quality spring water, pure water, and if possible, in a copper container. Copper conducts electricity, even the subtle energies very well. Your hands are clean and washed and wet. And we then taking a little bit of water in the palm. And now both hands are together, leaving apart the thumbs. Oh, you won't be able to see it. Let me stand. So letting the water trickle through in between all of the fingers. So first, just learning how to do that, not using the thumbs, but letting the water trickle through and making sure the water goes into all of the spaces. And if you're sitting outside, then it can just go into the soil. And if you're doing it inside or any other place, have a bowl so that you can be, so it's done with water. And as you're facing east or north or west, and as you're chanting, and Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Okay, so that's the practice with water. Since water is, is the water of life and is also incredibly conducting element for subtle energy, the pranic forces. And in the chanting of Gayatri Mantra and the use of the hands in Jnana Mudra as we sit in meditation, but when we do this particular practice that is part of the Sandhya, the twilight ceremony, men will, they wear a shawl like this, they will actually wrap their hands in the shawl when they are in the Anjali Mudra or in the Jnana Mudra, and that is to really guard outside influences and protect the hands. And then the hands are ready to be wetted and let the water flow. This is just a continuous flow of life, flow of the Jala Shakti, the Shakti of the water of life itself, to flow with mantra. So mantra and water flow together and then joining the soil. So once the this little ceremony with the water is finished for 3 rounds of the Gayatri Mantra in any particular direction, then you take that water and you water something in the garden or in the, if you're in nature somewhere, make sure it goes into the, consciously you pour it at the base of some plant. So this is a beautiful way in which the ancient rishis use the medium of water to connect with this mantra. Okay, now we'll finish up with a few slides. Share screen. Can we get that open? Masood, the screen share. Screen share. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Expand. Why can't I make the screen bigger? Okay.
I think just on the very bottom of that, the one on the left, it says close. Maybe that might close that last window. Make it
thank you. It bothers you here so much. So, we have had several forms of the goddess in Hindu tradition, going back to the Naga beings or the serpent beings. These were part of the Indus Valley civilization and continue to be honored in this way. And you see the snake beings here and what came to represent the Kundalini Shakti in all tantric yoga. So goddess figures go back to at least 2000 BC, oldest being versions of Kali. And this is the most famous Kali temple in Kolkata with the 3 eyes. And here is Durga in her fabulous form, was the slayer of the buffalo demon from the 6th century text of the Glory of the Goddess, or called Devi Mahatme, the first goddess epic in the world, and continues to be honored in the goddess festival or Navaratri. So here is my favorite Durga from Bengal. And goddess Gayatri then is linked to the opening of the 3rd eye right there. And you're all familiar with goddess Sri Lakshmi, also called Sri, and the giver of bounty. And here are another triune goddesses, Saraswati, Lakshmi, and goddess Lalita, or Sri, of cosmic play. And this is the Sri Yantra in its 3-dimensional form called Mount Meru, showing the 9 levels of the Sri Yantra. So given such a rich background and many temples to the goddess, this is a temple very close to my house where I live in India. And this is one in Atlanta to the goddess. Keeping that in mind, here comes Gayatri. So this is a painting of goddess Gayatri coming in vision form to bless the rishi, the seer of this mantra. Every famous hymn or mantra in Hindu tradition will have an inner seer, and that seer is usually the composer of the mantra, but it also identifies that person as having made that incredible connection from the mundane to the sacred, and then receiving the transmission that comes into that highly intuitive mind when it is completely pure and receptive. So she is not only a goddess, the meter itself of the mantra is called the Gayatri meter. We have 24 meters in Vedic literature, that span everything from how the Bhagavad Gita or the Upanishads or the Vedas, the Vedic hymns, they're all poetry. All of the poetic parts of all literature have one of these 24 different meters. And so the Gayatri meter, if you just do it with your hands, it's used widely in South Indian music, an 8-beat cycle. So it would be 1, just do it with me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's called Adi Tala. Adi means primordial, the first. So 8 is perfection. And so a beat of 8 was chosen to compose this hymn. And I'm again reminding us, Savitri then is the goddess of manifesting power. Savitri. You see how his name is spelled. So just an R with a dot below. So that makes that soft sound R. It's a vowel, R. So Savitri. And she's honored at sunrise, noon, and sunset. Let's see, where am I on the slides? Okay. So this is a painting of Goddess Gayatri in the last century by India's most famous sacred imagery artist, Raja Ravi Verma, who was a king in a kingdom in Kerala, but left everything to become an artist, especially as he kept receiving visions of the deities. So this is how he received the vision. So the lotus stalk curving around the goddess, and that represents the twisted journey of the Kundalini. And then he has imprinted the 24 phonemes of the Gayatri Mantra on that lotus stalk. So it says Tatsa Viturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. And he has separated out the phonemes as a reminder that this is a coded mantra, where each of those 24 phonemes then have multiple permutations and combinations, and how they spread out very ingeniously to link to all existence. So she has 5 heads, which are representations of the 5 koshas, the 5 elements, and all of the sets of 5 we have in Sankhya, plus 5 branches of the Vedas that are called Vedangas, or limbs of the Vedas. So that's for 5. And she has, of course, 10 arms. So that's for the 8 directions, plus the vertical being up and down. So that's +2. So 8 + 2. So that is for the 10 hands and the 10 tools that she holds, which are from the 3 major male deities, Shiva, Brahma, and Vishnu, have each given her various weapons. And she has both the wrathful and the benevolent aspects in things that she carries. She has a lotus for self-realization, but she has a noose or a whip to get us to fall in line, or she has a mace to shatter all obstacles. She embodies within herself all of the wrathful and benevolent aspects. This is a more tantric rendering of Goddess Gayatri that's not so commonly seen, perhaps in areas of Kashmir. Her body is really like a serpent body. And the indigenous influence of the Naga theology of India is influencing this. So she has serpent wraps, and she's also, her sense of protection is very strong. So she has a couple of tridents. All her tools are weapons for protection and fierce and wrathful protection of her deities. And notice her red crown chakras there, really waiting to act. Her front 2 hand mudras, Varada and Abhaya. So Abhaya Mudra be fearless. Varada, you can receive boons. This is about surrender. And let's see. So this is goddess Saraswati, of course. I mean, you recognize many things here about her, but she doesn't have the Veena. Oh no, this is Gayatri. Oh no, this is Savitri. So they interchange in how they appear in this form. So she Gayatri here, with just one pair of hands is the two pairs of hands. That's the stable form. Having the four hands is the stable form of any deity representation. So the two front hands represent our access to her. And the back hands represent what she wants to give us, but is hidden. It's the subtle realm behind. So in her subtle realm, she has weapons to protect us and to draw us in, the noose to draw us in, and then an elephant hook for protection. But her front hands, so she's holding the Vedas to give us knowledge. And then she's holding a japamala, making sure that she's going to be in every practice we do that involves meditation using japa. And the white sari for a sattvic guna, the luminous embodiment. Here's another form of her in the rosy complexion, red sari, pink lotus. So a combination of the wrathful and the benevolent, but very much accentuating that activating energy. The rosy red and the red is all about activation Shakti of the solar power. Okay, this is a beautiful 20th century painting. And the swans, the swan represents the Paramahamsa, Hamsa, and there is a Hamsa Gayatri as well, that is especially around Baba Muktananda. They used to chant the Hamsa Gayatri to him to honor him as a Paramahamsa, a being who has reached the highest stage through the Kundalini journey. Yogananda was also called Paramahamsa. Sri Ramakrishna was also called Paramahamsa. So the Hamsa or swan is always associated with Gayatri as well as with Saraswati. They are both ever present. This is a popular Gayatri motif. This is in my bedroom calendar in India. It's always there, has been there since I was a child. So I always think of her. Here she carries water, a pot of the copper water, to do the Gayatri Mantra using water. This is to emphasize the practice, and the water pot was given to her by Brahma, Lord Brahma, who she's strongly associated with. And then she's carrying the Vedas. So the lotus and the swan are completely integrated into her deity form. So showing that as we rise like the lotus through mud and water and all of the five elements, we can become the Paramahamsa, and chanting the Gayatri Mantra with its 24 phonemes. Okay, there is the Gayatri Mantra. This is how the script would be. And I had wanted us to practice writing just the first line, but we'll save that for a sacred Sanskrit workshop. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. And there you have it. The opening to the three realms of the universe, Bhuva, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, and then the 3 lines of 24 phonemes. Those 3 lines are just to see them separated out. So if you use your fingers and we count, right? Tatsaviturvarenyam. So they add, just when you're counting, they add a little bit of an E there. Vareni. So that's Vareniyam. But that's not what the word is. The word is Varenyam. So, but you're allowed, for the sake of to get 8 phonemes, to add the E just when we are visualizing it or counting it. Again, so 8 in each line. And so that makes what's called the Gayatri meter. So it's the Gayatri meter is 3 lines of 24 8 phonemes, and this is common in many other hymns as well. It's one of the most common meters in Vedic literature. And then you have the just a bare bones meaning that the initial Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha invokes the 3 cosmic realms, physical, subtle, and causal, and then the Gayatri Mantra itself. Let us meditate upon that adorable divine effulgence from the sun as Savitri, the manifesting power. May that divine radiance illumine or propel or activate or stimulate. That's the Prachodayat, our purified awareness. Dhiya, our purified awareness. I like to add that. And just to know that the 3, the Bhur Bhuva Swaha breaks down actually into Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Swaha. And I'll send you these slides so you have all of these names. And how the Gayatri Yantra looks with the numerology also built in. And her Bija Mantras. I know some of you will be very interested to know, well, does Goddess Gayatri have any Bija Mantras? We know Bija Mantras for other goddesses. Yes, she does. Om, Hrim, Klim, Shrim. So it's up here. It starts from the left. So goes like that, circularly like that. So Om, Hrim, Klim, Shrim. Om, Hrim, Klim, Shrim. Om, Hrim, Klim, Shrim. So here is her yantra. It's actually the square form. That's the gross realm. And the innermost, the heart chakra, you see it here, 8 petals for the 8 octave of existence. And then there's some numbers too. Then there's teachings on all these numbers. And in the very center, it says Om, and then it says 10 for the 10 directions. Okay, so last couple of slides. How beautiful it looks with the giving the mantra in the middle. And here is my see-through yantra for me to do. I hold it like this and do my practice. So there's so many ways of conceiving of that one yantra. The last one shows the sun's radiance in all directions from her golden body, and this yantra is made of copper but coated with gold. And copper and gold coated yantras, then as we touch them and do puja directly to the yantras with wet fingers, you can also touch parts of the yantra with the wet fingers, adding flower petals, and in that process chanting the Gayatri Mantra as we touch the 6-sided triangle. So that's, in a nutshell, a huge teaching that was simply compressed in for you.
Let's everyone unmute and give Sreedevi a big flower shower. Let's do that. Everyone unmute. Ready?